Hey, what's up, guys? It's been like a week and a half, 2 weeks since the last time I even filmed anything. Actually, I think it's like a week. Last time I filmed something, I was working on my son's quad. You may not see any of that in this footage or in this video, but you'll see some of that later. But, work and life keeps me away from this often. As you can see over here, we're still working on pit bike wheels. We got to get those bearings out still. I got the new bearings in the freezer. Gotten a lot of stuff coming in for that. But tonight, just real quick, short video. Going to be working on my son's brakes for his pit bike. Tomorrow's Monday, so I'm planning on taking him out and letting him ride it a little bit. So I'm going to show you guys how to do a brake adjustment on that. So get right into that. Letting him. Okay, so here's my son's dirt bike, pit bike, etc. Yada yada. It's a perfect bike for him. It's a beginner bike. Move my tripod out of the way. And I've just been doing, a bunch of little upgrades here and there to it. Got some more plans for upgrades. I do have a really nice aluminum swing arm for it as well. Let's see if you can see that. Here. So we're waiting on a few things. I ordered a new chain slider. I need to also order a longer chain for it. And those are the only two things really I need, is the new chain adapter for this thing. Chain guide. Yeah, chain guide. Waiting on that. And then I need to order a new longer chain. As you can see, we got the nice heavy duty upgraded MX pegs. Oh, those are getting really loose. Springs aren't really holding up too well. All bent. Last ride. May have to replace those springs. Those are new. Huh. Anyway. Yeah, it's just got a handful of upgrades. It didn't come with the skid plate. Didn't come with this, obviously. I put a nice aluminum filter on there. Replaced seat cover, Honda billet cap. Had to replace the handlebars. The forks were actually bent, so those are new forks. Had to replace the front wheel. It had a big dent in it. So this thing's come really a long way from where it was when we first got it. But I had softened the brakes a lot because I didn't want it to just slide out on him, or him to be able to lock up the front brake. So it turns out they're way too soft. He can't really come to a stop. Even when he lets go of the gas, it wants to keep pulling on him. So we're going to tighten up the brakes. I'm going to show you how to do that. And yeah, I'll be back. Alright, so we'll start with the front brake here. And there's a couple of different adjustments that you can make. You can adjust this nut right here. There's also a locking nut on the bottom that you have to loosen to adjust this. And then you can raise the height of this barrel. You can also adjust this screw here. So there's a couple of different adjustments you can make to tighten this brake. So we're going to just make a couple of tightens on this one. We're not going to mess with all of this because I've got it pretty dialed in. But we're just going to take and tighten this one a couple of times. And that should give us a little bit more brake in the front. And not so much that, because I really don't want him to be able to lock up the front. But I want it to, because right now it's doing nothing. That's a brake. You can actually see that brake is actuated, and the lever has to come past the bar in order to actually do anything, even when it's not doing anything. So I want it soft, but not that soft. So let me get a wrench, and I'll be back. Alright guys, so we're going to adjust this nut right here. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that. And I'm doing this backwards, so it's... Oh, I slipped off there a little bit. Two, three, Let's see where we're at now. Oh yeah, oh that might be too much. Oh, I don't want him to be able to lock it so easy. It doesn't engage early enough. I need it to engage sooner, but I don't want him to lock. So let's go a little bit more. Still no engagement till the lever's almost all the way to the bar, so still want to go a little bit tighter in that. It's almost a full turn. I'm going to go about one full turn. Now that locks at the bar. I don't have any early engagement. One earlier engagement. One engaged a lot earlier. Let's go a little bit tighter. It's just not engaging until it's almost all the way to the bar. This is an 8-year-old and he's learning how to ride on this bike, so we want it to engage. He's not going to be able to have the strength to pull it all the way back, so that's not really a concern. He does great, but I don't think he will. We just want him to be able to stop. That's pretty good. So now we've got some braking. And I can still spin the wheel without, I can lock it though, which is good. So we got a little bit of early engagement. It seems just about perfect. So I'll show you guys one more time where we're at. Right there. So I've got engagement about half lever. Before, the lever had to be all the way to here before we had any engagement whatsoever. All the way up till about the last full turn, even maybe last 2 full turns. So you guys saw I turned that bolt, or nut I should say. I turned it at least 8 full turns, I think. I'll have to go back and count, but quite a few turns before we were even getting engagement. And again, the lever had to be all the way back here before we had engagement. Then we slowly got to engagement here. Then we got to engagement here. Well, again, I don't want that lever to have to be this close to the bar. I want him to get engagement here. But I also don't want him to be able to lock it very easily without having to pull it to the bar. You know, so we can still pull this to the bar and get full locking should I want to go ride it. But he can get engagement by here, and that's what we're looking for. So, alright, let me get things turned around and I'll show you guys how to do the other side. Alright, got things turned around, had to get my pit bike out the way. I sit down and almost fall. So the rear brake just has a single adjustment. Well, it does have a second adjustment here. You can move this lever farther forward should you need it to be. You can unbolt or loosen this nut right here. Should I take you off the chart? I'll show you. So you can loosen these nuts right here. Take this thing off of the shaft, and you can rotate this forward and put it on. Should you need to have more adjustment. And actually, we're going to be doing that because the swing arm I showed you guys just a minute ago is about 4 inches longer than this. The longest rod I can find is only 2 inches longer. That proposes a problem. So I am going to be ordering an extended brake rod. Oh, that's one more thing I have to get before we can do this swing arm conversion. But we are going to be upgrading the swing arm. I need to get that upgraded brake rod, or longer brake rod. So we'll be getting a longer brake rod. I've got the chain slider, or chain guide coming. Yeah, and then I got new axle bolts, or axle adjuster blocks for the other swing arm too. So quite a bit of upgrades coming. But yeah, got to adjust this now so we can tighten it. So put you guys back in the truck on. Sure. Cool. Alright, looks like you guys are up there. Helps if you get that right. So it's only going about a quarter of a turn. Alright, go around. Excuse me. Move this just a little bit closer. It's a little better. Alright. So again, virtually of a stand I've got right now. I've got a bunch of dirt bike stands, but as I'm building a new bike, you guys may or may not know, we're going in the Broke to Built series with a pit bike. Thank you, Cameron Niamela. I'm looking forward to being a part of that. Anyway, so as I learned doing wheelies on this, so I finally figured out how to power it up in second gear. Well, that's already way better. Brakes on this just don't really engage very well. And yeah, so I was doing a wheelie in second gear. I was at balance point roughly, and by the way, my wheelies are garbage. I suck. So yeah, went a little over, tried to tap the brake, bring myself down, and I missed. Actually, I did tap it, but just not, wasn't good. The tap didn't effectively stop me, and that was the result. As well as a bruised hip and an ego. But this thing wheelies actually pretty well. It's a lot of fun. I probably enjoy riding it more than my son does because he's pretty nervous every time he rides it. He's getting better. He's been riding with me on one of my other dirt bikes, and I let him ride in the front. And he'll take the throttle, take the handlebars, take everything over completely, and he's been doing really well. Good. I'm getting confident enough in him that I don't have to panic every time I let go of the handlebars and let him take over. I can let him take control. So it looks like we've got some braking now. Enough that an 8-year-old can bring himself to a stop. I think much more effectively. Let's go ahead and tighten this one a little bit more. I'm okay with him having a lot of braking power with this rear. I almost want him to just barely have to tap it. Slow himself down. Oh, there we go. we go. So, looks like you just got to press it pretty hard to get engagement. So I think we're going to go a little tighter. Backing up a big truck outside. Well, I think that's it for now, guys. So that is how you adjust the brakes on one of these little drum brake pit bikes. Most of these CRF 50s, XR 50s, pretty much any drum brake setup on a little pit bike, it's gonna be like that. Even a lot of the older vintage motorcycles that use drum brakes, even some of the newer ones, the newer KLXs and CRF 110s, I see a lot of those use these drum brakes, and the setup's pretty much exactly the same on all of those guys. So hopefully that taught you guys something. Hopefully you learned something, and if you didn't, I hope I entertained you a little bit with my messy garage. And turn! Gave himself a little scare, a little whiskey throttle right there. He doing all right though. Whenever you're ready, okay? Look at that turning. Tight turning radiuses. Oh my God, he's getting it! He's getting it! Proud dad moment right here. Whoa! Whoa! Yep, whiskey throttle got him to stop. Good job, dude! You ready to press the button?
Hey.